students, welcome to day 35 of 99% in 99 days. So I hope all of you would have downloaded the question paper and would have solved it. So now I'll be discussing the solutions of the chemistry part from the chapter non-metals and metals, okay? And after this you will be getting the solutions of the biology chapter, that is control and coordination by Jasmine Ma'am, okay? So let us now start with the first question. So now we are going to discuss the solutions of the mock test, the chemistry part, in which the chapter was given to you metals and non-metals, right? So I hope all of you would have downloaded the question paper from our WhatsApp channel or from the community post and would have solved the questions, right? So now it's time to check the solutions. So what we will be getting here is we are having there are MCQs from here, question number 13 to 18, which carries 1 mark, okay? So there will be total 6 marks from here. Then you are having 2 questions of 2 markers, so which carries 4 marks total. Then you have question number 21 and 22, that is 3 markers, which carries 6 marks in total. Then you have question number 23, one long answer question that carries 5 marks, and then you have one case based questions, that is question number 24, which carries 4 marks, okay? So this accounts to the total of 25 marks, okay? Let's get started with the first question here. One second. Okay. So the first question here I have included little assertion and reason based questions, because generally we find difficulties in this question, right? The first question is sodium oxide is an amphoteric oxide. Those oxides which react with acid as well as base are amphoteric oxides. But if you know that sodium oxide is not a amphoteric oxide, right, it is a basic oxide, so assertion is false, right? So which option we have that the assertion is false? Option number D here, okay? Next, nitrogen is a non-metal. Nitrogen has 5 valence electrons. Yes. Now here you see both assertion and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. In the definition of non-metals, we have studied that they should have either 5, 6 or 7 electrons in the valence shell. Next question, copper does not react with dilute H2SO4. Copper is more reactive than hydrogen. So yes, that is correct here. So if you have this one, copper is there, H2SO4 is there, okay, and suppose zinc is there and you have H2SO4, okay. So what we'll get if zinc is there, we'll find ZnSO4, right? So that means what, zinc is more reactive than hydrogen, so it can displace hydrogen, but copper does not react, right? It does not react because copper is less reactive than hydrogen, so it cannot displace hydrogen, right? So the first statement is correct, but reason is false here, right? Copper is more reactive, no, copper is less reactive than hydrogen. So assertion is true, but reason is false. Next, highly reactive metals are obtained by electrolytic reduction of their molten ore. Highly reactive metals can be extracted by chemical reduction. So you can see, you have already saying that highly reactive metals can be obtained by electrolytic reduction only. So again, this is false here. So assertion is correct and reason is false, option number C. Next we have silver becomes black in color when exposed to atmosphere. Silver reacts with H2S gas to form Ag2S, which is black in color. Yes, here assertion is also correct, reason is the correct explanation for this one. So that is why option number A is the correct answer. Next, bronze is an alloy of, so if you know, bronze is an alloy of copper and tin, right? Option number D. So now we are done with the 1 marker questions. So let us move towards the 2 marker question. So here the first question is, the blue colored solution of the sulfate salt of metal W is taken in a beaker, okay? So W is the metal, it's a blue color solution. Next, metal X, metal Y and metal Z are added one after the another to the beaker. The color changes occurring in the solution are shown below. State what color change, if any, will occur if metal X is again added to the green solution in the beaker. Explain why. So now you see, first we have WSO4 and then you are adding metal X. So what will happen? You will get XSO4 formation will take place, right? Because here there is a color change has taken place, that means reaction has taken place. So what I can write here, that is XSO4 is formed. Next you have metal Y. Metal Y will react with this one, so you will get YSO4, right? Because again there is a change in color. Then if you add metal Z, you will get ZSO4, Okay, now this is your green color. Okay, so now you can see that y can displace x, that means y is more reactive than x. Now similarly z can displace y, so that means z is more reactive. Now if another time if you add x to this one, right, because x is less reactive than z, so it cannot displace here, so there will be no change in color. So what will be the answer here? So sorry, the answer here will be first one, there is no change in color, there is no change in color. Now what is the explanation for that? You can write x is less reactive, okay, than z. Clear? Next, question number 20, what is reactivity series? How does the reactivity series of metals help in predicting the relative activities of various metals? Okay, so here you can note the arrangement of metals in the vertical column in the order of their decreasing reactivity is called reactivity series or activity series. Okay, next, how does it help? A metal placed above the hydrogen in the activity series will displace hydrogen from water or from the acids. A metal placed at the top of the activity series would displace the metals below it. Thus, a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from the salt solution. So, for example, if you see, you have suppose in zinc is there, okay, then silver is there, or sorry, first zinc, yeah, in the reactivity series zinc is above silver, right. So, if I have zinc plus AgNO3 solution, then zinc, since it is present above in the reactivity series, it is more reactive than silver and it can displace silver and we can get zinc nitrate here. Okay. Next, question number 21, it is a 3-marker question. A teacher asks a student to identify a metal M. She gives them the following clues. Its oxide reacts with both HCl and NaOH. So that means it is an amphoteric oxides. It does not react with hot or cold water but react with steam. Okay, that means it is of low reactivity or medium reactivity. It can be extracted by electrolysis of its ore. So identify the metal. The metal is definitely aluminium here, right. Write the chemical equations for the reactions of the metal with HCl and NaOH. So if you have Al2O3 reaction with HCl, you will get AlCl3 plus water. Okay, and with base Al2O3 plus NaOH, you will get NaAlO2 plus H2O. Okay, next, what would happen if the metal is reacted with iron oxide? Okay, so if you have Al2O3, sorry, metal is reacting with iron oxide, right. Metal is reacting with iron oxide. So here we will get aluminium oxide will be formed and Fe will form. Okay, so you can just balance the reactions, right. It is now balanced. This will be the reaction. Okay. Next, an element M with the electronic configuration 283 combines separately with Cl and SO4 2- ions. Write the chemical formula of the compounds formed. Okay, so if metal has 3 valence electrons, it will be in the +3 state. If it reacts with chlorine minus, we will get MCl3, and then we have M plus 3 with SO4 2-, right. It will give me M2SO4 whole 3. Okay. Next we have here that predict with the suitable reason the nature of the bond formed by the metal in general. So the nature of the bond, because there is ions are present, right. So the nature of the bond is ionic bond, right. So sorry, this is an ionic bond. Next, predict with a suitable reason the nature of the bond given. How will the electrical conductivity of the compounds vary with respect to M, right. So how will the electrical conductivity of the compounds formed vary with respect to M? So here you see, here you will have less number of ions, right. There are only 4 ions, right, and here if you see there are 5 ions, right? So whose conductivity will be more? This one will have more conductivity, right? So M2SO4 whole 3 will have more conductivity than MCl3. Clear? Now next question, number 5 marker, state the reason for the following. Okay, so aluminum oxide is called as amphoteric oxide. Okay, so this was a question from Oswald. So aluminum oxide is amphoteric because it reacts with acid as well as bases, right? That is the definition for amphoteric oxide. Next, an iron strip. Okay, you can see here that an iron strip dipped in a blue copper sulfate solution turns blue green solution, turns blue pale green solution. So what happens now? Iron is replaced with copper, right? So iron replaces the copper. So you can see here, this is because iron is more reactive than copper in the reactivity series. So zinc displaces the copper from copper sulfate solution and iron, sorry, here it is iron. Okay, and iron sulfate solution is formed. As there is no more copper sulfate in the solution, blue color disappears, and as iron sulfate is formed, the solution becomes pale green. Next, hydrogen gas is not evolved when most metals react with nitric acid. So nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent and hydrogen is oxidized to water in the presence of nitric acid. Next, calcium does not occur in the free state. So because it is a very highly reactive metal, it occurs in the form of oxides and carbonates, right? So calcium is a highly reactive metal. It reacts with oxygen, water and other chemicals and remains in the combined state. Okay. Next, you have sodium and potassium are kept in under kerosene. So sodium and potassium are very highly reactive metals. They react with oxygen, like the reaction is often explosive. So to prevent that, a barrier is created between the potassium and the oxygen by keeping under kerosene. Okay, so you can see sodium and potassium are very reactive metals and they react with oxygen forming oxides. They do not react with kerosene and remain protected from oxygen in the air. Okay. So next is a case based question here. Okay, on the basis of the reactivity, metals are grouped of low reactivity, medium reactivity and high reactivity, right? Therefore metals are extracted in the pure form from their ores on the basis of their chemical properties. Metals of high reactivity are extracted from their ores by electrolytic reduction of the molten ores. Metals of low reactivity are extracted from their sulfide ores, which are converted to their oxides, and these oxides are reduced to the metals by simple heating. Name the process of reduction used for a metal that gives vigorous reaction with air and water both. Now when a metal is giving you vigorous reaction with air and water, that means it is a highly reactive metal, right? So if it is a highly reactive metal, then what will happen? Which process we have to use? Electrolytic reduction. So the first one answer is electrolytic reduction. Okay. Next, carbon cannot be used as a reducing agent to obtain aluminium from its oxide. Why? So because now aluminium has more affinity for carbon, has more affinity for oxygen. Okay, so you cannot easily separate this one. Next, describe briefly the method to obtain mercury from cinnabar and write the chemical equation for the reactions involved in this process. Okay, so here I have written this reaction, you can see. So you can see this answer, alumina cannot be converted from carbon to aluminium because the oxygen has a stronger affinity for aluminium. Next, cinnabar reaction, if you see, first HGS means this is a sulfide ore. With the reacting with oxygen, we get oxide ore of mercury, right? This process is called roasting. Now once we get oxide ore, it is simply heated to give you mercury and O2. Okay, so that is how we can obtain pure metal. Okay, fine. So students, here I want to introduce you to the DSAT program launched by Diksha. So that is Diksha Scholastic Aptitude Test. Generally after 10th, okay, it is a very critical decision to choose your career, which field you want to go. So to help you with this, we have organized this DSAT in which you get a 60-minute lecture, then you write a test on that, right? And after this test is evaluated and you have a one-on-one counseling with the mentor who tells you about your weakness and strength and tells you the right choice for your career. Okay, so if you want to avail this opportunity, please do not delay. Go to the description section, registration link is there, register for DSAT and choose the best career for yourself. Okay, so yes students, that's all in this class, and I hope all of you have attempted the test, and if you have any doubt in any question, do not forget to comment down. I'll definitely address to it. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe the channel. See you soon in the next class.
Hello my champions, I hope that you are done with chemistry, and now here we are there with biology, and the chapter, you know, it's control and coordination. So we will be solving all type of questions from this particular chapter. This is a mock test, so it will give you real-time experience of how the question paper might look. Okay, so it's out for 25 marks, and I want you to basically try it out by yourself first. So if you're someone who have not downloaded the mock question paper, please download it from the community post and try it by yourself, then tally your answers with me. Okay, done, deal. Let's get started. So there will be 6 questions, my dear children, of 1 mark. Okay, it can be an MCQ or an assertion reason. There will be 2 questions from 2 marker. There will be 3 questions from 3 marker, and 2 questions from 3 marker, 1 5 marker question, 1 case study based 4 marker question. Together you have it as 25. So now we need to know our scores. So after you're done with the paper, let me know your scores, that ma'am, I scored this much in biology. I will be really happy to see your scores. However small it is, however large it is, I'd be so happy seeing you attempt putting your efforts. Okay, yes. So let's get started. The first question, gustatory receptors are usually located in, so there's a way I always say for you to remember this, gustatory, you can go like that. Gustatory receptors are there for tasting. Okay, it's for giving you sense of taste. Now for tasting, what do we have, children? We have the tongue. So gustatory receptors are there on our tongue. Okay, always remember, do not go right gustatory. Okay, it's just for you to remember. It is gustatory receptors which is there in the tongue. What is there in the nose, children? What is there in the nose? Olfactory. So you can remember oil. Okay, olfactory, it is OLFACTORY. Okay, what is there in our eye? Photoreceptors. In our ear, phonoreceptors. Okay, so like that. So this is the first question, and we have solved it. The next question, Sapna suffers from a condition due to which her average blood sugar level is 174 milligram per deciliter. The average blood sugar level in a healthy adult is basically below 140 mg per deciliter. Which of the following could be the cause of Sapna's condition? So the normal should be 140 mg per deciliter. Okay, below it should be the normal one. Okay, but over here hers is like 174 mg per deciliter. But what are we talking about, children? We are talking about the blood sugar level. So that means we are talking about glucose level. So if glucose is more, then who is the reason behind it? Who is the person behind this particular thing? This crime is committed by insulin. So if insulin is not there, children, if insulin is not there, that's when the glucose stays like this. If insulin was probably there, what would have happened? Glucose would be converted to glycogen. Glucose would have been converted to glycogen if insulin were there. But over here, insulin is not there, which is why this is the case. The level of glucose, it increases, and what do you call this condition as? Diabetes. So, insufficient production of thyroxine in her body, is that a reason? No. Insufficient production of insulin in her body, yes. Excessive production of thyroxine, no. Excessive production of insulin in her body, no. If excessive was there, probably she might have low blood sugar. That is also a problem. So it should be normal. Okay, and yes, so it is the one, insulin is the one that controls thing, and here there is insufficient production, which is why in her body the blood sugar level has risen to be this. Otherwise it would have been lesser than 140 mg per deciliter. Works? Cool. Chalo, next question. Observe the 3 figures given below. Which of them following depicts tropic movements appropriately? What do you mean by tropic movements? Tropic movements are the movements where the response, okay, would be in sync with what? The direction of the stimulus. Direction of the stimulus. For example, if I touch a touch-me-not plant, it will just close itself. It won't move towards me or move away from me. It will just close itself. It has nothing to do with the direction of the stimulus. What is stimulus there? Touch. And the response is closing. So it is just getting closed. Nothing else is happening over there. Now, if you think of sunflower basically move according to the sun. So here the sun is basically the stimulus and it is moving according to the sun. So this is a tropic movement. Here the response is in the direction of the stimulus. Now if the sunflower was moving opposite to the direction of sun, that is also tropic movement itself. Okay, if it is moving towards, if it is moving towards or if it is moving away, it is tropic movement. One is positive when it moves towards, okay, other one is negative when it moves away. Got it? So over here in these three figures, which one of you think is the best for depicting tropic movement? So what type of tropic movement is being shown over here? It can be either phototropism or geotropism or gravitropism. Here, since there is no sun, I cannot say it is basically phototropism, but still, let's assume. So over here, you see the shoots are moving upwards. The shoot is moving upwards. So up usually you have sun, and if it is moving towards that, that means it is positive what? Phototropism. Okay. Roots, if you see, they are moving away from the sun downwards. So this is what? Negative phototropism, right? Now, if you talk about geotropism, the shoot always grows away from the gravity. Gravity goes like this, right? And the shoot will always go away from the gravity. So over here again, this is showing was what? Negative geotropism. And here, this guy is showing what? It is moving towards gravity. So this is going to show positive geotropism. Over here, if you see, it is showing positive phototropism and negative geotropism, but the roots are moving upwards, not towards the gravity. It is moving upwards, away from the gravity. That is wrong. Roots grow towards the gravity. Have you ever seen roots coming up? So basically that is wrong. Okay, so this is wrong, B is wrong. Now see, if you see, both of the shoot is also growing towards the gravity, or basically if sun is there, it is moving away from the sun also. So this is entirely wrong. What is correct, children? This one is the only correct option. So you have let's say B and C, A and C, B only, C only. I think I have marked it differently. So suppose this is B, okay, this is A and this is C. Now I'm not changing the options because I think the person who made this rearranged in different format, which is why it came like that. So the answer will be what, children? Or probably, let's not do this. Let me not confuse you. Let it be A, B and C. I'll just change the option. This is A only. So what is the answer, children? It will be just A, nothing else. This is the answer. Okay, A only. Cool, works. Chalo, next. Auxin is a plant hormone that promotes cell elongation and is produced at the apical meristem. What do you mean by apical meristem? So suppose this is a plant. This is the apex of the plant, at the tip. Okay, from here you have leaves coming. Okay, from here you have this coming, the other branches coming off. So what happens is that auxin is basically found at the tips. And these tips are known as apical region, and this meristem, the cells that are present at the tip, they are known as apical meristem. Okay, and it is having auxin. So the one problem about auxin is that it does not arouse lateral growth. That means it does not allow the formation of lateral buds like this. So auxin hates lateral buds. So there won't be branching over here. If auxin is way too much, there won't be branching seen over here. So it inhibits the growth of lateral buds which are present at the nodes. Okay, as long as sufficient auxin is produced by the apical meristem, the lateral buds remain dormant. So they won't be growing, they will be remaining dormant. Okay, they would be remaining dormant, they won't be growing. Now, a gardener wants the plants in the hedge that he is growing to become bushier with more branches. Now, a gardener who is growing a plant, he wants the plant to be more bushier. He wants it to have more branches and everything. Which of the following do you think he should be doing? First thing, spray water on the tips of the stems to increase growth. Will that work? Water has nothing to do with this. If you put water on the plant itself, it does not take it. You have to put it in the root. That's when water is being taken up. But well, it has nothing to do. Next, dig around the plant roots and apply more manure. Again, manure will let the plant grow in every ways. It can go up also. But I want more branches, so I have to be specific there. Trim the hedge by cutting off the tips of the stem. Should I be cutting off the tips of the stem? If I cut off the tips of the stem, will I find more branches? What do you think? Tell me the answer. Remove all the weeds that grow around the hedge. If I remove all the weeds, obviously there is no competition, but still it will be growing just like it was growing. So if I remove the tip, my dear children, that means I am removing the higher quantity of auxin. If auxin is going, these lateral buds which are there, it will be growing, and hence I would be finding branches in there. So this is the thing. So trim the hedge by cutting off the tips of the stems. Cool? Works? Okay. So this is the answer. Next thing, assertion and reason question. Our body maintains blood sugar level. Okay, that is true. Our body definitely maintains blood sugar level. Now, pancreas secretes insulin which helps to regulate the blood sugar level in the body. Does pancreas have any role in it? Yes, definitely, because pancreas acts as a heterocrine gland. What do you mean by heterocrine? It has two functions. It releases enzymes, so which is why it is known as exocrine gland. Exocrine gland. And then it also releases hormone, which is why it is known as endocrine gland. Why? Because it releases hormones. Okay, so this is a heterocrine gland, my dear. So pancreas secrete insulin, and if you have insulin, it will be regulating both blood sugar levels in the body. So yes, it definitely does. So I'll say our body maintains blood sugar level, and that is because of this. So assertion and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. This becomes your answer. Next, assertion. Males have more growth stature than females during puberty. Do they have? Yes. Okay, you will be finding more growth in them during puberty than females. This is because of the presence of thyroxine in the blood of the females. Is it because of the presence of thyroxine in the blood of the females that basically males have more growth stature? No, children. It's because males basically start releasing a very important hormone that is known as testosterone in their body. When you hit puberty, this particular hormone is being released in their body. Now, you say male hormones are being released. Under male hormones, the major category of hormone is testosterone. So, androgens is the set of male hormones. Under that, the major category is testosterone, which makes the males grow bigger with larger body stature. So, I will say this is true, okay, but this is not true. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Done? So, next question. Okay, now we have entered the 2-mark question, my darling champions. How is the mode of action in beating of heart different from reflex action? How do you think the mode of beating of the heart is different from the reflex action? Give 4 examples. Can you try? So, here it goes. First thing, beating of the heart. Involuntary actions are the actions which are not controlled by our will. Can you control it? No. Reflex actions are sudden actions in response to something. So, is this beating of the heart a sudden action? No, children. Okay, I will categorize beating of the heart as involuntary action. You cannot control it. Reflex action again is something that cannot be controlled. It is usually not it is involuntary itself, but it is a sudden action. It is a sudden action. Second thing, they do not need any kind of stimulus to work. Does the heart say that only if you smile looking at me, or basically only if you touch me, I will be working? No, it's not like that. There is no stimulus that is needed over here. So, involuntary action, they do not have any stimulus. But over here, in reflex action, you need a stimulus. For example, there is hot pan, I touch on it. The hotness over here, the temperature that is over here, that is the stimulus. That will create an action that is me moving away my hand. So, these actions are regulated by the spinal cord. These actions that you see are regulated by the spinal cord, and over here I'll rather write, instead of writing this, that they need a stimulus. They need a stimulus. Next, these do not involve skeletal muscles. Would you know skeletal muscles? Skeletal muscles are found over here, here. Skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles. For example, I, as of now, want to move away my hand like this. I am able to do this because there are skeletal muscles over here. Whereas, there is other type of muscle which is known as smooth muscles. Okay, even though those sound smooth, but it does not work smooth. So, smooth muscles are involuntary in function. We cannot control any of it. For example, peristalsis is happening inside my esophagus. So, over here it is contracting, relaxing, as of now if I think, Jasmine, stop it. Can I do that? No, you cannot do that because they have smooth muscles. So, basically over here, in the case of beating of the heart is surrounded by smooth muscles. So, these do not involve skeletal muscle, okay, whereas when you talk about reflex action, they do involve skeletal muscles, okay. Only skeletal muscles are there which could be controlled. I am not talking just about this, but there are a lot of other cases where you have skeletal muscles in your body. Now, these actions are pre-formed throughout one's life. It is already formed throughout, whereas these actions, do you think it is pre-formed? No. It is basically a response that is initiated whenever there is a situation like that, there is an emergency situation like that. These actions may be quick or slow. Yes. For example, beating of the heart can be normal, okay, or can be fast. But over here, these actions are always quick. If it's not quick, then probably there is a problem, okay. And one more point you can write, beating of the heart has the function of both CNS, that is spinal cord, as well as your brain, mainly brain. But over here in reflex action, you give the major preference to spinal cord instead of the brain, because if it goes to the brain and then brain gives a reaction, then it will be very slow. So, you want the quick involvement of spinal cord there, even though the information definitely goes to the brain, but still the quick involvement of spinal cord is there. So, these are the points, these are wonderful points that is being written. So, please follow these points, and this question usually confuses a lot of people during boards. So, have your points ready. Cool. This is 1 2-marker question and I hope you got it. Next, name the parts of the brain that perform the following function: maintaining the posture and balance of the body. I always tell, there's one way to remember it. The answer is cerebellum. Cerebellum has 2 L and L looks like straight. So, cerebellum is the one that helps in the posture and the balance of the body. Now, regulating the blood pressure. Who does regulation of the blood pressure? It is none other than medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. Okay, so cerebellum and medulla oblongata both becomes a part of hind brain, my dear children. Blood pressure, everything has been regulated by them, apart from breathing rate, lot of things has been regulated by medulla oblongata. Now, sensation of hunger or feeling full is a physiological function. Okay, I feel hungry, I feel thirsty. So, all of these things is being controlled by something that is known as hypothalamus. And hypothalamus is the part of our forebrain. So, our forebrain has cerebrum, which is different from cerebellum. So, cerebrum, pons, P-O-N-S, and then we have hypothalamus. Okay, cerebrum, and then we have thalamus, and then we have hypothalamus. In the case of hind brain, we have cerebellum, we have pons, and then we have medulla oblongata. Okay, and there is a midbrain also, that is something different. Cool. So, this is the answer. For posture, remember LL. Okay, for blood pressure, you can remember medulla oblongata and also pons. Okay, and for sensation of hunger, feeling full, it is hypothalamus. Works. Chalo. Next question. So, they have not written entirely the names, so we can write the names as well. It works. Okay. Pertaining, now the 3-marker question. Pertaining to the endocrine system, what will interpret if you observe swollen neck in the people living in the hills? The people living in the hills, if you observe swollen neck, what do you mean? What does that mean? Basically, I can say that they have goiter. That they have a condition that is known as goiter, and that means in their body, thyroxine hormone is being produced less. Thyroxine is produced less, and also that they are not having what type of salt, children? Iodized salt. How can you say that, ma'am? Because, children, thyroxine is a hormone which needs iodine. which needs iodine. If we are not providing iodine, thyroxine won't be made. If we are not making thyroxine, all our metabolic activities will be slowing down, and that's when slowly we would be having a disease that is known as goiter. So deficiency of thyroid hormone would be causing a disease that is known as goiter. Okay. Now over secretion of growth hormone takes place during childhood. Okay, if this is happening, that means the growth hormone is being formed, that means that person has gigantism. That person will be having gigantism in future. There is over secretion. So that person will be having gigantism in future. Now facial hair develops in the boys aged 13. Why do you think it is the age when you hit puberty? And at this point of time, having facial hair is normally okay. Okay. And why is this happening? Because testosterone is being produced. Testosterone is the hormone that will be giving rise to the male secondary sexual characters. Okay, so these characters, beard, having beard, or basically enlargement of the testes, enlargement of the penis, everything happens because of the same changes that is happening in your body. Okay, so let's see the answer. Less intake of iodine in the diet. So you observe swollen neck in the people living in the hills. Because of all these reasons, you can directly write this also if you want. Now over secretion of growth hormone takes place during childhood. That means it will lead to gigantism. That is a disease when you get too much amount of growth hormone. If there is too little, it is what? Dwarfism. Now facial hair develops in the boys age 13. That means timely secretion of testosterone is happening in them because you have hit puberty. Easy, no? Yes. Next, draw a reflex arc. How can you draw a reflex arc? Basically, first thing you write about sensory receptors. Okay. Now the sensory receptors will be giving the signal to sensory neuron. This is a neuron. Okay. Sensory neuron is also known as efferent neuron. Now this neuron will be moving towards your spinal cord. In the spinal cord, you would be having relay neuron, or you call it as interneuron. Okay. Now from here, from the relay neuron or interneuron, you send the signal with the help of what? Sensory neuron. Next neuron is motor neuron, which is also known as efferent neuron. Now the motor neuron will be acting on what? The effector organ, and which will be bringing out a response. This is how you have to draw a reflex arc. Works easy, no? So sensory receptors senses thing, send signals to the spinal cord with the help of sensory neuron, or you can just write CNS in bracket, you can write spinal cord. Okay. It is also known as efferent neuron, and then you come over here, relay neuron, interneuron is there in the spinal cord. This will give signal to the motor neuron, that is efferent neuron, and then now it goes to the effector organ to give out a response. This effector organ can be a muscle, a gland, anything that you want. Suppose it's a muscle over here, can be anything. Okay. Now write the functions of medulla and cerebellum. You already got the answer. Medulla is there. It is known as, basically it controls the breathing rate and the heart rate, everything. Cerebellum is there for posture. Cerebellum is there for posture, for balance. I'll tell you one interesting thing. The people who drink, if you have seen my lecture, you might be already knowing, the people who drink, okay, in them the cerebellum is affected, okay, which is why they are not able to maintain posture. They move it like this. Okay, so that is the thing. Now both overproduction and underproduction of growth hormone lead to disorders in the body. Yes, what are the disorders? You have to explain. So underproduction would lead to dwarfism, and overproduction would be leading to gigantism. Got it? And also write growth hormone, basically it is being produced by pituitary pituitary gland. Okay, so this is how you have to write the answer. Okay, write the function of medulla. Medulla controls blood pressure, salivation, vomiting, everything. Okay, all the, okay, apart from breathing rate and everything, this involuntary things are also controlled by involuntary things. You cannot control vomiting, salivation and stuff like that. This is involuntary. This is also controlled by the medulla. Okay, now cerebellum controls precision of voluntary movements and equilibrium. Obviously you can voluntarily control all these things, right? So these things, or you can write posture and balance as well. Now overproduction of growth hormone leads to gigantism and its underproduction leads to dwarfism. You can also write about pituitary gland. That will be really good. Next, so there's a 5-marker question, my dear champions. Define receptor and state their location in our body. Mention any 2 receptors present in our forebrain and their function. What are receptors? Receptors basically are proteins. Okay, receptor basically are proteins or structures which basically would be helping us in detecting a stimulus. They would be helping us in what, children? Detecting the stimulus. Stimulus can be anything. Too much amount of light. When too much amount of light is there, we close our eyes. This is a reflex action. When it's hot, we click away hands. This is a reflex action. So all these things are reflex actions. So these things that you see over here, these are stimulus which would make you close your eyes, which will make you move your hand away. Now state the location of the body. It's there in all our sensitive areas. It's there in all our sensitive areas. You can say it's there in our eyes, it's there basically in the ears, all this location. Okay, tongue, you have in your tongue. Okay, and what? Nose. Here you have olfactory, here you have gustatory, ears you have phono, eyes you have photo, all these things. Now mention any 2 receptors present in our forebrain and their functions. So in our forebrain you have 2 receptors, that is gustatory, the taste one, and olfactory. The signals will be going on there. So these are the receptors that are being present over there as well, which obviously senses. You have it on their tongue, but yes, essentially it sends their signal as well. Okay. First we will read that part of the question. So receptor is what? Specialized tips of some nerve cells which receive information from the surrounding, or basically which helps in detection of the stimulus. Now location in the sense organs. In the sense organs, or not the sensory, yeah, it can be written as sense organs, that will be more correct. Eyes, nose, everything, tongue and everything. Gustatory receptor detect the taste, olfactory receptor detect the smell, which are the 2 receptors present in our forebrain. I told you about that also. Now how do nerve impulses travel in our body? How do you think nerve impulses travel in our body? If you need, you can make the diagram. I'll recommend you to make the diagram over here. Okay, so how can I draw the diagram? Basically, make a V, make a smaller V, make a smaller V. Similarly over here also, make a V, make a V, make a smaller V, make a smaller V, make a 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 smaller V, make a smaller V. Okay, okay, I actually drew it really bad. Just a second. I don't want to, okay, don't want you to judge me really bad. Right. So when you draw fast, all this thing happens. Okay, I think it's better now. Okay, now you have your nucleus over here, and then again you have the terminal region. Now children, as I said, please don't judge me on the basis of this. I'm drawing it really fast, but I'm not saying my drawing is really good, but yeah. I just want to explain you certain things, which is why I'm drawing. Okay. So how do nerve impulses carry on, children? First thing first. So over here, these strips that you find are dendrites. This region that you see is the cell body, or you call it soma, or you call it cyton. This region that you see is axon. This region that you see is axon terminals. This region that you see is synaptic knob. And if you have another neuron around here, this space that you see is known as synapse. So what happens is that, okay, there are certain receptors over here on our dendrite. On these receptors from the other neuron, if certain chemicals such as neurotransmitters comes and binds. What are these? Neurotransmitters. If they come and bind, what will happen? They get active. This particular neuron gets active such that the ion channels open up. The ion channels open up over here, which are usually closed. It will take in lots of ions inside, some positive ions inside. And when this particular thing is happening, when positive ions are getting inside, basically you are changing the potential difference over here, some physics over here, okay? You are changing the potential difference that is there. There is a change in the charges level, which will open up other ion channels. And the information is moving like this. Some ion channels are opening up, some ion channels will be closing up, and later this impulse would be reaching up here. So this thing that I am saying, that this impulse is going, what do you call this? I will say whenever there is a change in ion and things like that, charge over here, you are initiating something that is known as an action potential, or basically a nerve impulse. Now this nerve impulse or action potential moves towards the axon terminals, and it will make the synaptic knob that is present over here to release the stored neurotransmitters, the chemicals. Neurotransmitters are what? Chemicals. These neurotransmitters would be released over here in the synapse, and what will happen? The next neuron, they would be also having receptors. The neurotransmitters goes bind on them, and the same thing again goes on, goes on, goes on. So this is the thing. So you have to remember, so basically the neurotransmitters which are there goes binds on the receptors present on the dendritic tip, making up open lots of ion channels in the cytosol region, which would later, if the impulse is so strong, it will later create an action potential. Okay, this is not actually the same. This is not actually the same. Nerve impulse, if it is very strong, it will create an action potential which will moving towards the axon. From in the axon, the synaptic knob which is there, it will open up, releasing lots of neurotransmitters which would be going and binding on the other receptors, and the signal goes on. Okay, now these neurotransmitters can be acting upon a gland, a muscle, or basically another neuron, either one. But this is how things work. This is known as a nerve impulse. Works. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can, because it will be going later on. Chalo. So the information acquired at the end of the dendritic tip of a nerve cell sets off a chemical reaction that creates an electrical impulse. That means there's a change in ions, which travels to the cell body, then along the axon to the end, releasing some chemicals across the synapses. This is how you have to answer. This was in the marking scheme. So how do nerve impulses travel? You can say this, you can draw the diagram as well. Show the direction. It goes like this. Cool? This is a 5-marker question. Next question. Read the passage given below and answer the questions that follows. Study the table in which the level of thyroid stimulating hormone in women are given and answer the questions that follow on the basis of understanding. So 18 to 29 years, it's 0.48 to 2.34, that's a normal range. And if you go, let's say, just a second, okay? If you go below this, that means that's a problem. You have low level. 0.4, if you go below that, 0.4, that means it's a very low level of TSH. Now, if you're 38, it's not 308, okay? 38 to 49 years, then it is 0.48 to 4.0. That is normal range. But if you go below it, then that is low. Similarly, 58 to 79 years, it is 0.46 to 4.68. Again, if you go below this, then that is a problem. Okay, if you go below this, that is a problem. If you go beyond this, that is also a problem. If you go beyond that, that means what? If suppose you are going beyond it, that means in your body, the amount of TSH is going up. And when is TSH being made too much? When the amount of thyroid hormone is less. When thyroid hormone is less, that's when the pituitary gland releases thyroid stimulating hormones, tells that, hey, thyroid, make more and more thyroid hormone. I think it's kind of very less. Okay, so this happens, the TSH, it increases when the amount of thyroid hormone is kind of less. I'll tell you again, listen to me carefully. So pituitary gland is the one. Listen to my story. So you have pituitary gland which releases TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. When does it release? When the thyroid gland is producing really less amount of thyroid hormones. That's when this guy is being released in way too much amount. Okay, that's the problem. Now, women, so over here, this is a low amount, this is a normal thing. Women are at greater risk of developing abnormal TSH levels during menstruation, while giving birth and after going through menopause. Okay, menopause means the menstruation has stopped. Around 6% of women in the United States have some kind of thyroid problem compared to 3% of men. Okay, so women have more problem. Despite claims that high TSH increase your risk for heart diseases, a 2013 study found no link between high TSH and the heart disease. Okay, but a 2017 study showed that older women are especially at the risk for developing thyroid cancer. Older women are especially at risk of developing thyroid cancer if they have high levels along with thyroid nodules. So this becomes a very big problem. So in them, the production of thyroid hormone stops, basically becomes less, which is why TSH tries to be increasing, so that this guy can tell to release more and more thyroid hormone. Okay, that is a problem. Okay, so when this guy is way too much, just understand the level of thyroid hormone is way too less. That's a problem. So 35-year-old woman has TSH level of 6.03, which is more than this. That means in her body, thyroid hormone is being produced less. What change should she bring in her diet to control this level? If in her body enough amount of thyroid hormone is made, then you do not need TSH. So at that point of time, you can lower the level of TSH. For doing this, what do you need to increase it? I can ask her to have iodized salt. So iodine is there. If iodine is there, she can make more thyroid hormone. So a 35-year-old woman has TSH level of 6.03. What change should she bring in her diet to control this level? She should be having iodized salt and things like that. Okay. When do women face a greater risk of abnormal TSH level? In the case when they are basically of higher age. Okay, they are of older age, that's when they have a higher risk of this. State the consequences of low TSH level. State the consequences of low TSH level. If suppose TSH is low, what will happen? Do you think thyroid hormone will be made? Do you think thyroid hormone will be made? Problem. That's also a problem. So you should be having enough amount of thyroid stimulating hormone. You got it? That's the role of this. So answer, she should take more iodine in her diet. That is correct. During menstruation, while giving birth and after going through menopause. Okay. So they have directly answered the question from this. You can give like that also. Okay. When do women face a greater risk of this abnormal thing? During menstruation, while giving birth and after going through menopause. That will be more correct. Now, low level of TSH causes goiter disease. Low level of TSH means basically you're talking about low level of thyroid hormone. If low thyroid hormone is low, then you're talking about goiter, my dear children. So obviously this is the problem, this is the consequence. You would be having a disease which is known as goiter. Okay, I hope you understood. If level of thyroid stimulating hormone is less, there is no one to stimulate the release of this particular hormone. So this hormone will also be at the end less. So that is a thing. And with this, we have completed the 4-marker question, 3-marker question, 5-marker question, 2-marker question and 1-marker questions. I hope this particular video was useful for you. If it was useful, you have to comment down that, ma'am, we are going to score 99%. So I would be having one more PYQ session tomorrow for control and coordination. So if you're someone who is interested, you can watch that particular video as well. This was just for your mock test. There, I will be given the questions, I will be solving there itself. So be there. It will be there at 6 PM. Cool? Chalo. Oh, have you already applied for Disha Scholastic Aptitude Test? Well, this is an aptitude test for those children who are worried about what should we do after 10th. So, in this, there will be a 60-minute concept-based lecture. After the lecture, there will be an aptitude test, children. Okay, in that, and on the basis of the marks, you will be having a one-on-one counseling session with a counselor, and that counselor would be telling you which stream will be the best for you. So if you're someone who is interested, you can find the link in the description box, click on that link and get to know more details about the same. And if you loved this video, do not forget to show your love, okay, in the comments and in the likes, and share it with your friends. And I hope you're studying and not playing around. Your exams are coming really soon, right, in the month of February. So do not think it's time to play. For 3 months you study, then you can chill. Okay, every time, every exam people say this, right? But no, trust me, then you can actually chill for some time. For some time you can actually chill. So please make sure, and you can chill for the rest of your life if you get really good marks over here. It's not because these marks really matter way too much, but if you want to get into some good colleges and something like that, after your 10, there are so many scholarship opportunities. If you want to avail that, you should be having great marks. So think of it in a positive way and do and give your best. And if you loved this video, don't forget to subscribe to our little channel, that is Diksha Vidantu as well. So bye-bye, take care.